Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
This is the Patrick Riggins Show. If you're racking your brain on that song, it's the Screaming Trees.
That was a tree screaming.
As he ran the chainsaw through.
I got a question.
All right.
If a tree was to scream in the forest and no one was around to hear it, would it be screaming?
Make a noise?
Yes, would it make a noise screaming?
It would still be screaming, but would it make a noise, though? It'd be doing the very act of screaming. You should pose that to him. You're a musician. You run with these people. You gotta run into one of those guys from that band sometime. I think they're popular in the 92, 93, 94, something like that.
Yeah. I'll go back in 92 and ask them.
If you can do that. Well, we're not going to be doing this radio show. We're going to be living probably in an island somewhere with a lot of money. Yeah. I will be investing with Microsoft at the early days.
Yeah. Into Facebook? Yes.
Yes, I'll have a little of that too. Sell out after the IPO. All right. Here in the last segment of the show, and kind of a follow-up to my comments over the past couple of weeks about this whole shooting in Connecticut. It seems as if the national media are finally catching on to what I've been saying from day one. Why is it we're all concerned about this shooting in Newtown and have completely disregarded the daily killing of children and adults all around the world? Now, again, if you want to hear any of those shows, go to youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. What brings this subject back up is an article that ran on Fox News a few days ago entitled, or foxnews.com. It was entitled, "Far Away from Newtown, Kids Face Death Daily, Say Child Advocates." Wow, really? I would have never have guessed that watching the news coverage. In fact, I would almost assume this has never happened before, children being killed. As I stated on my last show, the only reason the media, the president, and the liberals in Congress say anything about it is because they want to use these poor children's death as a wagon to which they can hitch their fanatical hatred of an armed population. It doesn't have anything to do with these children and their families. All the psychotic gun control nuts care about is the fact that it happened. And they want to be sure and rush and capitalize on it before all the newness wears off. Now, the article starts out, "In the aftermath of the mass murder of 20 children at Connecticut's Sandy Hook Elementary School, child advocates are trying to raise awareness of the alarming rate that kids in America continue to be victims of violence and questioning why it goes largely unreported and unrecognized by the public." That's because, as I said, if it doesn't help push a political agenda, then the so-called caring liberals don't care one bit for another human being's life. And the article continues, "There's so little attention paid to this violence, and the first thing to note is those numbers are probably seriously undercounted." This is Terry Covington, the director of the National Center for Child Death Review. I didn't know we had that, but they went on to say, "It's been well documented that those numbers are underreported, perhaps as high as 50%. Child abuse cases often don't show up on death certificates because a lot show up as injuries or accidents." Now, in 2011, this is last year, 639 children ages 1 to 14 were victims of homicide. That's an average of 12.2 children per week nationwide. I don't know how you kill 0.2 of a child, but I guess that'd be really 1/5 of a child, according to preliminary data from Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. For victims aged 1 through 4, homicide was the third leading cause of death. For children ages 5 to 14, homicide was the 5th most common cause of death. Now, where are all the mourners for these children? Why isn't the president giving press conferences and pretending to wipe tears from his eyes during his statements? Why aren't we having all kinds of people trying to get their 15 minutes of fame on the backs of other dead humans? Oh, that's right. I can't get gun control passed with only 639 children being killed one or two at a time over a year, so they don't count. I can't use them and their tragedy for their deaths to promote my political agenda. Only when we get a bunch of children killed all at once can I do that. So I better get to work and make sure this horrible atrocity counts for all I can. Because who knows when we'll get lucky again and have some crazy with a gun kill another bunch of people. One way we can help try and encourage is to hype it up. Mention the shooter's name a lot for weeks at a time. Show the other crazy people who have illusions of grandeur that we'll reward them as well. We'll make sure their names are repeated over and over and over on every media outlet nationwide. Heck, even worldwide if we can swing that too. So if you're looking for attention in the worst way, be sure and shoot up someplace. That'll help us spread this message of fear about guns. If you help us with that, then we'll make sure and hold up our end of the bargain by announcing your name over and over and over, making you infamous and a household name before we get through it all. That's the deal. You help us, the media will help them. If that doesn't drive some media people crazy. We're up on the end of the Patrick Riggins Show. If you want more information about our show, you can go to facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. That's all together, facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. And Riggins is spelled Riggins. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can go to the little @ Patrick Riggins. And you can also go, I've mentioned this a couple of times during the show, our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show, all pushed together there. You can reach us on email at the same thing, patrickriggins@gmail.com, or just drop a letter in the mail or note or whatever to WOX here on the Kingston Pike in Knoxville. Thank you again for listening to the show this week. Join me next Sunday afternoon, where once again we'll talk about freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. This is Patrick Riggins, and we'll see you next Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Have a great week, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on the Patrick Riggins Show, every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Be there.